So, borderline, extreme reactions including panic, depression, rage, or frantic actions to abandonment, whether real or perceived. A pattern of intense and stormy relationships with family, friends, and loved ones, often veering from extreme closeness and love to extreme dislike or anger, kind of like, I love you, don't leave me. Distorted and unstable self-image or sense of self, which can result in sudden changes in feelings, opinions, values, or plans and goals for the future. Impulsive and often dangerous behaviors such as spending sprees, unsafe sex, substance abuse, reckless driving, and binge eating. Recurring suicidal behaviors or threats of self-harming behavior such as cutting. Intense and highly changeable moods with episodes lasting from a few hours to a few days. Chronic feelings of emptiness and or boredom. Inappropriate intense anger or problems controlling anger. Having stress-related paranoid thoughts or severe dissociative symptoms, such as feeling cut off from oneself, observing oneself from outside the body, or losing touch with reality. What does someone like with that look like? I'm sorry? Somebody said something, I missed it.
Got a lot of problems.
Got a lot of problems. Anybody else? What does someone with BPD look like?
Seems like you need more
It's
like.
like at least one person from each table, like a wild guess.
Kind of like a mental institution.
They need like a mental institution?
Kind of, they need more care than.
More care? Okay. Spaced out? Yes.
Maybe more emotional at times.
More emotional at times?
More sensitive.
I've seen like in some TV shows, like, you know, sometimes like the person 1 minute they could be just like very businesslike, and then another time they could be like casual, like a totally different person.
Okay.
Does that go with them altering their physical appearance?
It can.
Okay.
It can.
Very like intense.
Intense. Okay. Anybody else? No? Well, I'm here to tell you guys that a person with depression, a person with bipolar disorder, a person with PTSD, and a person with BPD, some of you had it right. I am that person. Those are my diagnoses. I am a person with mental illness. This is my psychiatric service dog. How does that change your opinion on what mental illness looks like? Does that change anything? Yes.
Can't know.
Exactly. You don't know. What else? Does that change your opinion? No? You still think somebody with BPD deserves to be locked up and in a mental
That's not necessarily
institution?
what I meant. That's not really what I meant.
Okay.
It slightly changes it, yes, but that's not what
Okay.
I was trying to impart.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I want you guys to look at me, and I am 30 years old. I have been suffering with mental illness since I was 11. 11. I self-harmed since I was 11. When I was 14, getting ready to go into high school, I was bullied. I was harassed every day by the same people. They thought it was funny. They thought it was hilarious. They thought I didn't know. It's not funny. That's predominantly where my borderline came from. Was from other girls thinking it was funny to push my buttons. I self-harmed for, let's see, I was 11 to about 27. I've had stitches, I've had staples, I've had everything. I want you guys to realize that mental illness does not look like a straitjacket in a padded room. It looks like every other person on this planet. And just because you have a mental illness does not make you crazy. It doesn't make you dangerous. It doesn't make you unsafe. It makes you a person with a sickness. And that is okay. Mental illness is okay to talk about. If you find yourself struggling, if you find yourself hurting, if you find yourself being bullied by other people, it is okay to reach out. If I had someone when I was 14 come and do what I'm doing for you guys, my life could have been completely different. Could have been completely different. But I didn't know that it was okay to reach out. Because when I was 14, in 99, 2000, it was all stigmatized. And that's why I'm here. I'm trying to take down that stigma. Mental illness is okay. I take medications every day, and I see therapists, usually weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. It's okay. It's no different than diabetes. It's no different than heart disease. It's no different than cancer. I can't cure it. I can treat it, but I can't cure it. But that's okay. I do my best every day. I do my best. And the reason I'm here is to tell you guys, it's okay. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It does not have to be bad. And I want you guys to realize that when I was in high school, I had issues with growing. I was very, very tiny, and that was a subject that people loved to pick on me for. They loved to pick on me because I was the weird girl. I was the loner. I didn't have very many friends. And that made it worse. That made everything worse. When I was 14, 15, I can remember wishing somebody would just hit me with a car. I couldn't wait to get my driver's license so I could run my car off the road and die. Because I didn't know it was okay to reach out for help. I didn't know. Because it was a big secret back then. And I don't want it to be a secret for you guys. I want you to see the loner. I want you to see somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends. And I want you guys to be able to go over there and say, hey, what's up? How are you? If somebody had done that for me in high school, again, my life could have been completely different. If somebody had said, hi, how you doing today? What classes do you have today? Doing anything after school? It could have made all the difference in the world. But that's why I'm here, so that you guys don't make those same mistakes. You guys don't make those same, you guys don't have the issues that I had. Because now, at 30, I have a really hard time going in public without my dog. See? Oh. He has to protect me from all the perceived threats that I see. See? Come here. Oh, hi. See? Front. Front. Correct, front. If I'm standing in a line, I don't like being too close to the person in front of me. He protects me. He stands behind me. I have to have my back to a wall. But that's okay. That's okay. It's not a bad thing. I've adapted. But if you guys find yourself struggling, if you guys find yourself saying, wow, I'm really sad and it doesn't feel like a normal type of sad, it feels beyond that, reach out. Say something to anyone. Anyone. Say something to a teacher, a coach, a friend. Say, wow, I'm really struggling here. There's something that's going on. It's not bad. Nobody's going to judge you for it. And if they do, they're probably not a good friend to begin with. I want you guys to know it's okay to live with a mental illness. And if you do get diagnosed, what does it feel like? What does it feel like to be diagnosed? When I was told I have all these issues, and they didn't all come at once. They didn't all come at once. They came one at a time. But what does it feel like? It's scary. I'm not gonna lie, it's scary. But at the same time, you could say, you know what? I can get help now. I can repair it. I can do something about it. So at the same time that it's scary, it's also a little bit of relief. You know, oh man, I just got diagnosed with bipolar disorder. That's really scary. But you know what? There is a ton of medications out there, and I go to psychotherapy every time. I don't miss an appointment. And I look as normal as everybody else. So for as scary as it is, it's also a relief. I want to know if anybody has questions about my dog, what he does. I want to know if anybody has questions about mental illness. I'm very candid about it, how things happen, what happened. I have no problems. I want you guys to be as open as possible. I want you guys to learn. Hi. Come on up. Come on up. Hi. Oh, stretch it out, Bubba's. So I want to know if you guys have questions. And believe me, I'm standing up here with panic attacks. I'm standing up here with anxiety. No joke. No lie. I am freaking out inside. But I am doing this for you guys. Okay, off. I am freaking out, but I'm doing it for you guys. So you guys don't have to feel this same feeling. So, questions. Questions, questions, questions. Yes?
How'd you deal with those problems in your high school years?
How did I deal with problems? Honestly, I cut. I have scars all over my arm. I can attribute every scar to a memory, to somebody, to something, and that's how I dealt with it in high school. In fact, that's how I dealt with it up until I was about 22. Yes.
Did your parents ever find out that you're drunk?
Yes, they did. My school sent home a letter when I first started and said, we think your daughter has some issues and we think it would be best if she sees somebody. And my parents were so afraid of the stigma that comes along with mental illness that they said no. They said no. They asked me when I was a 14-year-old kid, and they said, do you think you need help? And of course, I was afraid of the stigma too. So I said, no, I'm fine. And so they didn't do anything. But yes, they knew. Yes?
Do you blame any of the adults at your school for maybe not stepping in for when kids were bullying you?
I could. But what will that do at age 30? you know, I could sit there and say, oh, it was Miss Pibbick's fault that she didn't notice that Jen Keir and Jessica Hopwright and, I forget what the third girl's name was. It will come to me later. But I could sit there and say, yeah, it was Miss Pibbick's fault because she didn't see it. And I could sit there and say it was my parents' fault because they didn't get me help. But you know what? The fact of the matter is, at age 30, what is the blame game gonna do for me at this point in my life? At this point, I'm getting help. I have been seeing a therapist for about 6.5 years now. I've been on medication for that long. I've been through the ups and downs. So yeah, I could play the blame game. But with age comes maturity, and that maturity says it's not gonna do me any good. It's just gonna make me dwell on the past. So I'll just kinda keep focusing on the future. Yes,
Do you forgive your parents?
yes, absolutely. My parents made mistakes. I've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And holding it against my parents is not gonna do anybody any good. It's like a poison in your veins. And what good does it do to hold anything against anybody? I've forgiven the girls that harassed me. I've forgiven them because they were 14 too. They were immature too. Yes.
Do you regret when you were 14 that you didn't ask for help?
Yes, I do regret that. I mean, there's nothing that I can do about it now, but I wish that somebody had done what I am doing with you guys and said, look at the face of mental illness. Looks pretty standard to me, you know, it doesn't have to be something shameful. You know, I wish I would have known it was okay to ask for help. I could have saved myself about 15 years of heartache, but I got help when I did. Yes.
Like, when and how did you get a service dog?
I got him, my first service dog came to me, his name was Oscar. He was a little dachshund, and he was actually the exact same coat pattern as Ziggy. And he came to me in 2007. I didn't realize that he would be a service dog when I first got him.